If zeroing a gun properly has been something that's been difficult for you to do, today we're gonna change that. So the gun we're using as an example is this comical kitted out Ruger 1022. Not much more to say about it. This will be in another video where we can yap about that, but we're gonna keep this quick. One of the first things I do when I've got a completely new optic setup, especially if it's on a riser or anything that's gonna really change the mechanical offset here, I want to see where I'm at on paper up close. And this is going to save me a ton of ammo at the actual distance I'm zeroing at, whether it's 50, 100, whatever it may be. I'm gonna be here at like 10 yards and see just how far off we are. And if my assumption is correct, this specific setup is gonna be pretty far off. So you see that target with all the white shapes on it? I'm going to be aiming for that bottom right square right there. So let's check that out and see where we hit. Okay, so as you can see, even here at 10 yards, we are this far off. And I would say this is about 6 inches. If I had jumped straight to 50 or even 100 yards, we would have been so far off, regardless of, you know, the paper we were using, it would have been completely off that. So this is why I start at a close distance. Let's talk about how we actually adjust our optics. Okay, so the way I break this down is pretty simple. I go by inches, which is how many inches am I off from the target, minutes or mils. So I'm going to translate how far I am off into a angular measurement, right? And then I need to know how many clicks on the scope that I need to make. So inches, minutes, clicks. And with our example right here, we are 6 inches low at 10 yards. Now I need to translate that into minutes of angle because we're using an MOA scope. So if we know that 1 inch at 100 yards represents 1 MOA, 6 inches at 100 yards would represent 6 MOA. But we're not at 100 yards, we're at 10 yards. So now we need to multiply that 6 times 10 to know that we are 60 MOA low. Now, to get the amount of clicks we need to do, all we have to do is either look at our scope if the information is there, or we can look at the instruction manual for the optic. But this one will tell you right here on the optic that every click moves you a quarter MOA. So to get 1 full MOA, we need 4 clicks. So now we're gonna multiply 60 MOA times 4 to get 240 clicks. And now I'm really hoping that this scope has enough travel to get us 60 MOA high. So let's do that. This scope has 65 MOA worth of elevation travel. We've gone all the way and then I backed it off just a little bit from the upper limit. And let's see where we are at. So cool. Okay, I'm very satisfied with this at 10 yards because, again, for a 50 or 100 yard zero, we're gonna be about this low at 10 yards anyways, just because of the mechanical offset. So this is great, and I know that we're going to be on paper now. So at this point, I would move out to the actual distance we're going to zero at. For this rifle, we're doing 50 yards. Okay, so now we're back at 50. I really like having a bench rest, even if it's as simple as a table and a bag. So I really like 10-shot groups. If you think about it just from a nerdy, like scientific perspective, more data lets you draw more accurate conclusions, right? So if we have a 3-round group and we easily, especially if we're a newer shooter, could have pulled 2 of those 3 shots, we're gonna think that the gun itself is, you know, off to the side. So I think 10-shot groups are going to be much better for stuff like this. And if you're like, well, that's a waste of ammo, just treat it like a marksmanship exercise and get some practice out of it. I'm going to use the very center of those 5 black dots just to see where we are at. And I'm not going to use the maximum magnification on my scope. I would use the smallest magnification you can use while still clearly seeing what's going on. You will tend to get better accuracy with that approach. So cool, so that was our 10-round group. I could see we were wildly open. And of course, 22 is not the most accurate caliber, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of that was me. So let's go check out what happened. Okay, so as you can see here, these hits are kind of all over the place. And again, we could blame it on the ammo. I do not think it's the ammo's fault though. Once we get it zeroed, we'll see how accurate it truly is. But even with the hits spread out, because we did this 10-shot group, we're able to take the center of this group and still get a pretty accurate representation of what was going on. So our biggest cluster of hits was right here. I was aiming at this black square. So if we have this 1/4 inch grid here, all we have to do is start counting. So there's 4, that's 1 inch. There's another 4. There's another 4. And there's another 4. So that is 4 inches off to the right and a little bit more. So really 4.5 inches. And then we are 1 inch, 2 inch, and 3 inches up. Okay, to reiterate, let's talk about the elevation first. So we were 3 inches high at 50, which means we were 6 MOA high. Now we need to multiply that by 4. So 6 times 4 is 24. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's our 24 clicks here. And then again, we need to come quite a bit to the right. So we were 4.5 inches off at 50. We multiply that by 2. So 9 MOA off at 50. And then we need to turn that into clicks. So 9 times 4 is 36. So we're gonna move 36 to the left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I did my math right, this should get us pretty damn close to that center black square. Yep. Cool. Okay, so these hits are still all over the place, but we've got a solid little group here, and there's 3 rounds off to the left. Now, another testament to the group size thing, these were my first 3 shots. So if I had just shot 3 shots and then had everything here and then adjusted, and then I start shooting more rounds, and all of a sudden we're going to be double off to that side, that would be a big, big problem. So this is why I shoot my 10-round groups, right? Because we're going to see a much more consistent pattern. It's actually kind of a blessing that these were kind of all over the place instead of one ragged hole. So I'm going to use pretty much the center of this group of 7 instead of using all of this, right? So we'll probably pick right here, and then from the center, we'll come up. So there is 1 inch, and then that's 1.5 inches. That's pretty much where we're at. And then here is 1 inch, and we're not even that far off. It's really 3/4 of an inch, okay? So I'm gonna take that math to the bank, and let's make it happen. Okay, so the fact that we didn't get this perfectly gives us another chance to revisit the math. So again, we're 1.5 inches high at 50, so multiply that by 2, and that gives us 3 MOA, right? 3 MOA times 4 clicks per MOA is gonna be 12, right? So we need to come down by that much. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's gonna give us our elevation. And then we were half that distance, so 3/4 of an inch off to the right. So multiply by 2, because we're at 50, that's 1.5 MOA. 1.5 MOA times 4 clicks per MOA is going to give us 6. So we need to go 6 clicks to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This final group should give us what we need. If not, I'm just gonna go home and cry myself to sleep. Let's shoot the top right square. Okay, let's check the hits and see how we did. You can see we aimed for that top left black square, and more than half of our hits are touching it. So we had a flyer here and then a flyer here, because this was only 2 shots nearly touching each other. So there's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that makes quite a bit of sense there. So again, I'm really reiterating the point here. 10-shot groups, while it is more ammo at first, it's going to cause you to probably shoot less ammo in total, and you'll get a much better 0 out of this. I think since these hits are pretty evenly spread about here, we're pretty dead on. So I'm gonna do some training with this, and you will see that rifle in another upcoming video. very excited to share that with y'all. So again, this is my process. I really like doing these 10-shot groups because if we had just done 3-shot groups, we would have been here for a much longer time and used probably more ammo overall. So I'm very confident with this 0. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video made you a better marksman.